I am happy to have Automotive Seminars as a sponsor for the show. Now, if you're not familiar, Automotive Seminars is a diagnostic technician training company. They've got a website that there'll be a link to in the show notes. And what they offer is top-notch training to technicians like us in the field. I've been taking their training courses for years and have got a ton of benefit out of it. They've got top-notch instructors, John Thornton, Scott Shotton, Scott Manna, and every other month they've got a 2-night course that you can sign up for. Join in, ask questions, and afterwards, you've paid for the course, you can access a recorded version whenever you want. You can rewatch the class 2 years later in case you wanted some details on it, and that is a fantastic feature. So make sure to check out the website to see what courses they have available and what's coming up in the future. This podcast is brought to you by Jarhead Diagnostics. Jarhead Diagnostics manufactures in-house diagnostic equipment and storage solutions, as well as distributes for companies like Pico, ATS, and TopDon. One of my favorite tools that I've bought from Brandon and Jarhead Diag is the case for the U-Scope. If you don't have a U-Scope, you probably should, but if you have one, you got to get one of these 3D printed cases, has a magnet on it, has a full-size BNC lead that you can connect to, and it gets rid of the weak point of that scope, which is the mini BNC connection, which is pretty fragile. This case makes this thing nice and secure and makes it an even better tool than it was. So check out jarheaddiag.com. The link is in the show notes. This episode is brought to you by L1 Automotive Training and Keith Perkins. If you're looking for education on module programming, J2534, EEPROM work, key and immobilizer, electrical diagnostics, or drivability diagnostics, Keith has a website, l1training.com, that's got over 60 hours of training videos on all those subjects and more. When I first started out doing mobile, I utilized Keith's videos on module programming in J2534 in order to get my head wrapped around what I would need for the tooling, the computers, the software setups, what kind of obstacles I would be up against when I'm out there programming modules on cars. And it was a huge benefit to me. And I continue to use the training videos that he has on his website. So I strongly recommend checking out l1training.com. We have got Auto Rescue Tools and Isaac Rodell as a sponsor for this podcast. Hey guys, if you're looking for programming laptops, you want the laptop set up ready to go for programming control modules on vehicles, you need key cutting equipment, you need diagnostic tools, Isaac is your guy. Has all that stuff available for purchase, and the support that he offers along with the purchase has been outstanding. I bought some stuff from him in the past. I got my Dolphin key cutting tool from him several years back. And again, the support has been phenomenal. Helped me out along the way with anything additional I needed to make it work for me. Also, for the month of June 2023, they've got Autel updates for sale. So make sure to check that out as well. Again, that's autorescuetools.com. The link will be in the show notes. Welcome to the Automotive Diagnostic Podcast. We're going to explore ways to sharpen our diagnostic skills, find learning resources, and hear from experts in the automotive field. Hey, what's going on, automotive world? Welcome to another episode of the Automotive Diagnostic Podcast. My name is Sean Tipping. I'll be your host for today. Joining me on the show, I have a friend of mine, Brian Good. Brian's an automotive technician. He's been in the field for 30 years. He's owner and operator of his own business, Good Auto Diagnostics, down in Texas. I'm going to talk to Brian today about how he came to run his own shop, his own business, some of the things that he experienced along the way. We'll talk about a little bit about training. Of course, we had a chance to meet in person at ASTE a few weeks back, and then just some general industry chat as well. It was really good getting to talk to Brian, and I'm just working through my list of people that I met at the training event in North Carolina and that I wanted to get on the show. So with that out of the way, let's jump right in. How's it going tonight?
Oh, doing good. How about yourself?
I can't complain. I'll tell you what, you're down in Texas, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm up in Minnesota, and it's the end of September. I mean, it's October in a couple days here, and the weather around here has been just awesome this month. I mean, it'll get cold soon enough, but we have so much cold up here 9 months out of the year, it seems. But it's been like 70s and 80s every day through September. It's just been gorgeous. I've been doing some kayaking out on the river. Lot of fun, and yeah, I got no complaints.
Cool. Yeah, it's the mornings here for the past week have been around, I'd say upper 50s to 60s.
Okay.
Which feels great. And, afternoons is still getting them to around 80 to 90 degrees. So,
okay.
The week before ASTE, like Monday, Tuesday, last week, it was 100 degrees and humidity was just through the roof. So, yeah, I was looking forward to getting away out there to North Carolina and enjoying some of that weather out there. It was nice.
Yeah, it was beautiful out there too. That was the first time I've ever been to North Carolina. That was a fun event. I enjoyed that quite a bit.
Yeah, I was so looking forward to in-person training again. It'd been since Vision 2020 is the last in-person training that I'd been to. So,
yeah, I had missed that one. I didn't go to Vision that year. So, but I think the only in-person ones that I had done that I could even remember were smaller. Like John Thornton will come up here and do I don't know, maybe 20, 30 person class at a local community college, and that's like all I could remember for in-person training and seeing people. And I mean, it's been almost a couple of years. It was just so weird to meet so many people that I've really only had online interaction with, over Facebook or whatever. And then you're meeting these people in person, and each other, right, from all the interactions, but you've never actually been face to face. It's a weird thing, but I enjoyed it quite a bit, and the training was awesome. They did a good job for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely a good group of instructors for sure, and just like you said, all the interaction and networking through Facebook, and then it was funny, getting there and somebody walks up to you, hey, how's it going? And you kind of got to stare at them, and then you look down at their name tag, and then
yeah,
together,
I kept having my name tag flipped around, so it was I didn't even realize, because I'm talking to people and they can't see my name tag, and they're like, oh, who are you? I was like, oh, hang on, let me flip that around here.
yeah, we were joking. I forget. I think it was me and Cody and Ben Vernado and Daryl Caron. We're talking about maybe the next time we get together we'll have everybody's Facebook profile picture on your little name tag, so everybody. Oh yeah,
that's not a bad idea, actually.
So yeah, it would you could easily identify somebody else, But,
sure. Yeah, it kind of made me think, having like some people have professional like headshots. I think that's what you call it, for their Facebook profile. And going to an event like this, I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's actually probably not a bad idea. If you're going to go to places like that and meet people, so everybody knows what you look like. Because my dumb pictures of me playing hockey. Like nobody nobody has any idea what I actually look like. So, um,
Yeah, some people
but
got a
it was
picture
funny.
of their dog or
Go ahead.
something, or a car or whatever. Yeah. So
Right, right. What was your favorite course that you took, or what one do you feel you're going to get the most real life application out of?
I had all four of them that I took were really good classes. I'm going to say the Scott Brown's class. Man, it was an awesome class. I mean, I had Scott Brown's class. I had Justin Morgan's class, the BMW 101 class. That was
Okay,
that was a really good class. It simplified all the different things that were like unknown as far as how to decipher the engine code. N62 BU and what have you. But
sure.
and it was they were all just great classes. I'll put it that way. You know.
Yeah, I mean everybody there was, you know, top of the game. So I don't imagine you could have gone wrong at any one of them. But
Right.
yeah, it was cool to sit in some classes, and I sat in on Rich Falco's 8S class, and I really enjoyed that. You get something different out of it when when you can, interact in person and ask questions and interject
Yeah.
things.
Exactly.
There's just a whole different vibe than online stuff.
Yeah. Online is it's good to an extent for me, but me, I like the interaction, in person
Hmm.
interaction is always best. Me coming up as a technician, I started in 1990, and
Okay.
so I worked at a Pet Boys is where I started out. I worked there for four
Okay.
years. I think the whole time I was there for 4 years, I had two classes, and one of them was the Max AC certification class in '93 when R134 came out, and left there. Anyways, left there, went to the dealer, Chevrolet dealer, and that's when my training really begun. And then it was, I would say, probably 75% of the training was in person. And I
Okay.
live in Waco, and we would go to the Dallas Training Center, which was 100 miles away. So it was really close, just to drive up there. So, but the in person training was always the best, and you'd
Sure.
always get there early, and sit around the breakfast table at the training center, and just shoot the breeze with all the techs that were there, networking, so to speak. Right there, and
Yeah.
you'd pick up a lot just from talking about other things with different techs. We're having this problem with this, and oh yeah, I've had that problem. This is what we're doing. That type of thing. You know,
Hmm. How long did you work for the GM dealership?
I worked a total of 22 years with GM.
Oh, wow.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, I worked at a dealership about 15 miles out of Waco. Uh, I worked there from '94 to '05. Me and the service manager kind of have had a parting of ways, and I left that dealership, and it was just a Chevrolet dealership is all it was. Left that dealership and went to a Buick Pontiac GMC dealership in '05.
Okay.
Picked up Cadillac at that same dealership in '08, and then I ended up leaving that dealership in 2016 to go work for an independent. So
Okay. What was that like being at one brand or one car line for so long?
it was it was it was nice. I could work on a GM and knew it inside and out, you know.
Hmm.
But the reason I left, it just got to be mundane. There really wasn't a challenge. I was the last dealership I was at from '05 to 16. It was a specialized shop. I was drivability, electrical, and AC. So
Okay.
when it come into the shop, had such and such code. How many have I worked on? Do a couple quick basic checks, and I know what the problem is. It
Sure.
just the recalls were. It got to be so many recalls at the dealership that it was, making good money, but I wasn't being tested, so to
Yeah, it's
speak.
very monotonous.
Yeah, exactly. And I want the challenge. I want to learn. I want to continue to grow. So that's the full reason I left. Everybody thought, well, did you want more money? I'm not. No, I was making good money. I just was tired of the same old thing. Just in a
Sure.
rut. And so I went to an independent, and which we did probably, I would say, approximately 70% euro. So
Oh,
I kind
okay.
of got thrown to the wolves, so to speak.
Yeah,
you know,
that's quite the
or
shift from GM to Euro.
yeah, just from GM. And when I was at the GM dealer, we didn't take in strays, as far as a Ford or, a Honda. So I was short of what I worked on maybe outside of work on the weekends from little side work type stuff is all I ever got,
Hmm.
which wasn't much. But, started at independent, and, the owner was really good guy. Uh, had plenty of tooling. If you got a timing chain job or a timing belt job in that needed special tools for it that we didn't have, he had no problem jumping on the internet and buying the kit for it. And, if the job sold, of course, and he would get the tools coming and you had the right tools for the job.
That's awesome.
So, plenty of, scan tools, had just about everything you could think of. Tech 2, DRB3, had two Autologic blue boxes,
Okay.
Assist Plus, had a Solus Edge, had oh my gosh, I'm forgetting a bunch of them, but plenty of scan tools.
But you were well
VCDS,
equipped.
yeah, VCDS, YTech, um, you know, IDS, you know,
That makes such a big difference when who you're working for or with or whatever is willing to make that tool investment, because I've definitely been in a situation where that's not the case. Like, can't we
right,
get by with that Snap-on scanner or that OTC scanner? Do we really need something else? Right? They're always hesitant to spend money, at least there, because I don't know,
yeah,
maybe they don't see the return on investment, but it makes our jobs way more difficult if we don't have the right stuff or
yeah, yeah.
the optimal stuff to do the job.
You mean to tell me that Genesis won't work?
Yeah, that's all I had for a number of years.
Oh yeah, yeah. But and as far as training, he was always willing to pay for training. That's another thing that really helped me with all the other makes as far as GM. Um, going to a lot of World Pack training, CTI classes. Going to the local events that O'Reilly's would put on. You know, a couple years back when for Super Saturday, the last Super Saturday, um, I had come across it with just through networking on Facebook and talked to the owner. And I said, hey, there's this big event that's coming up, Super Saturday. It's a 1 day event. Everybody's talking about it. It's going to be, a lot of good classes there. Said, would you mind letting me go to that? He says, yeah, let me, check into it. And a couple of days later, he gets back with me. He says, "Yeah," says, "I checked into it. It seems like a real good deal. I don't have any problem with you going." Said, "I'll take care of everything. But I got a quick question for you." He says, "Do you mind if I go?" I'm like, "Well, hell, I don't care. You're the one that's buying the ticket. You can go all you want to." So I just
Sure.
kind of thought it was a little funny that he was asking me if he could go too. So
Okay.
yeah, we both went up there and had some. He took some, I guess, management courses, and and I took. I had Brandon Steckler's pressure waveform class.
Yeah.
And, I had Eric Stiegler's class. Gosh, I forget the name of the class, but it was
Transmission class, maybe?
it was a CAN bus and programming class.
Okay.
I'd have to go find my handout to find out exactly what it was called, but that's what it was.
Okay.
And that's where I met a bunch of guys really through the network that I'd seen on Facebook. At the Super Saturday. So
Yeah, that's one event I have not been to, and I wasn't going to be able to make it this year, even if they had it, because it was so close to ASTE, and I had already committed to that, and I couldn't make it work with my schedule to go to both. But I was planning on it that would have been the fall. Was it the fall of 2020? Yeah, it would have been fall of 2020. I was planning on it, and then they canceled then too. For obvious reasons, I get it, but yeah, I've been kind of bummed because everybody that talks about that event has such good things to say about it. I mean, a lot like I feel like went on this past weekend, but eventually I'll make it there.
yeah, I would probably rank. I guess it was Super Saturday was 2019, the last one.
Okay.
I would rank it probably on par with ASTE just this past weekend.
Okay.
The amount of people there and just the whole vibe, everybody was just so excited to get some good training and see each other, meet each other, shake hands and talk about business and what we all enjoy doing so much,
So are you still with that shop that you were referring to?
No, I left Trinity back in the beginning of April, and I've got my own shop now.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've got a shop at the back of my property. It's a fully equipped shop. I've been working out of it for the past 4 years doing side jobs.
Okay.
And, it got to the point where I was spending a lot of after hours during the week trying to stay caught up with everything that I took in for my after hours. And so I finally just broke loose and, got my LLC. I got my shop insurance, and I'm a legit shop. So,
That's awesome. It's got to be a good feeling, but also at the same time, that's tough to do, to just go out on your own. Because obviously a lot more, risk that you're taking on, responsibility that you're taking on.
Yeah, for sure.
What, was there any like deciding factors or anything that really pushed you to make that happen? Or, was it a certain person that motivated you, or how did that transition happen for you? I'm curious because, I kind of have like a side thing going on too, and I'm trying to decide my future and how it's going to go.
Right. Now, I had always wanted to have my own shop. It just got to the point in life where I was ready to do that. Things just kind of lined up, and going back to when I started Trinity Auto House, which is where I just left my last independent job. When I started there in 2016, I talked to the owner and told him that my plan all along was within 5 years to have my own shop, and
Okay.
he fully understood that, and he said, I don't blame you. He said, I've wanted to have my own shop for all these years, and now I have it, so I understand your same dream as well. So he fully understood and never hesitated to send me to training, knowing that I was going to leave in about 5 years. So, which was,
Okay.
can't say enough good things about the owner, giving me that
Yeah,
opportunity
that's
to be in there
fantastic.
and learn so much with the aftermarket. And because all I had ever been to was GM training,
Hmm.
and it's totally different than aftermarket training. The World Pack seminars, the ASTEs and the Super Saturdays, and you just go on and name them all. But yeah, he gave me the chance. I made it. Actually, I made it 4.5 years before I decided that I was ready to go ahead and do my own thing.
Okay. And since that point that you went fully on your own, what's it been like for you?
It's getting busier and busier. Um, I do some work for a local Toyota used car dealership. Toyota
Okay.
dealership. I work on used cars. They'll call me up on their headache vehicles they can't get figured out. They'll send them over to me, and I'll get them diagnosed, get them repaired, get them taken care of. I've got a couple other used car lots in town that send me their work, word of mouth, just from friends telling friends telling friends, and I just
Hmm.
continue to get busier and busier. You know,
Okay.
so
Is it just you? Is it a one-man show or?
just a one man show, me, myself, and I
Okay.
at this point.
Okay.
So yeah,
Sure.
it's just me. Um, I've got it's a 30 by 40 shop. Got two lifts in it, a 12,000 pound lift. I got a 9,000 pound lift. Um, it's pretty much full equip. Everything you need. Short of tire machine, things stuff like that. But I can
Okay.
handle anything else in the shop. So
Okay. What would you say, percentage wise, diagnostic work and repair work that you're doing, being that you're the only person doing the work?
right. I would say probably diagnostic wise versus repair. Probably oh, it'd probably be almost 50-50.
Okay.
Diagnostic versus actual repair. The last job I just finished and delivered today to the Toyota dealership was a engine swap on a 2010 CRV.
Okay.
So it was brought to me because it was traded into them with a broken timing chain and interference motor. So
Gotcha.
they wanted to put a used motor in it, so I swapped out a used motor and got it going for them and delivered it back to them today. The motor was actually delivered last week, and that was what I started on Monday morning when I got back from ASTE. So
Okay. But you're seeing a decent amount of actual diagnostic work too. I know
yeah,
I've
I'm
seen
not.
your logo. It has diagnostic in the name, right?
Yes, good
Okay.
auto diagnostics. Yes,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um so okay. You've been doing this, you said 1990 did you start? Is that what the
yeah.
year was?
Started right out of high school. I didn't go to any formal technical training.
Okay.
Little backstory there. I started out at Pet Boys. Graduated high school and like within 3 weeks, I started at Pet Boys in
Okay.
1990. I was hired on part time as a installer. I did, batteries, starters, alternators, tires, things like that. Just little quick, easy stuff. for about 6 months, and then they moved me to we were hourly, so moved me to a full fledged technician, and but the whole time I was an installer, I just latched on to the older guys, you know, learning to do alignments, alignment angles, and all of
Mm-hmm.
that. Watching the older guys use the old sun scope. We had an old sun scope, the big cabinet. And I just looked at that thing and said, "Oh my God, look at all these cables! What does all this do?" And would watch the older guys, pull up a parade pattern, and you're looking at the oscilloscope, and four gas, and all of that. So I just kind of hung around those guys and just kind of soaked it up. Guys pulling apart a quadrijet, starting to rebuild a quadrijet. So learned all that stuff. We were building dual jet carbs and quadrijets, and just anything I could, just full of questions. What is this?
Uh-huh.
What is that? And it's not like I didn't have any mechanical ability when I was growing up. My dad used to always have hot rods, and
Okay.
had an uncle that lived with us, and he would work on his 69 GTO, and then he totaled it and bought a Grand Prix. So we pulled the motor and transmission out of his GTO and put it in his Grand Prix. And, just in the driveway at the house, And I was the gopher, I need a
Okay.
916, go for this, go for that. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
at 7, 8 years old, and that's what got me into it. My
Okay.
dad was an airplane mechanic in the Air Force, so that's kind of where I got that bug from, was from my dad. But
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering, did you know going, out of high school, like this is what I want to do, or is it just something you sort of fell into? But it sounds like you had
I knew
you had some
exactly what I
background.
wanted to. I knew exactly what I wanted to do from the get go. Was just to
Okay.
work on cars. I had hot rods in high school. 71 Chevelle. Small block with a 4 speed, and just burning the clutch up all the time. And I would just go to local Chief Auto Parts and buy another $20 clutch, and swap the clutch out, and I'm good to go again for another month before I burned it up. you know, but
Sure.
just that was what I loved to do, was just wrench on cars. So
Okay. Um. So I don't mean to say this to make you sound old or anything, but so in 1990 I was in kindergarten, right? So you've been doing this way longer than I have, okay? But I'm going somewhere with this. um, have you ever had points in your career where you thought like, I'm done with the auto industry. I don't want to do this anymore? Because I know I have. Like, there's been points where I'm just like, I think I want to go try something else, and I don't know. I've it's just sucked me back in every time that I've thought that. But have you ever had those periods of time where you're just like, I'm done with this. I hate this industry.
well, I would say not really, but there's that time or two when you're getting your butt really kicked up and down by a car, and you're just thinking, I'd rather be a greeter at Walmart than to be working on cars right
Yeah.
now. But
Sure. Sure.
I mean, it's in my blood. I mean, it's just what I love to do from sun up to sundown. I mean, I couldn't think of doing anything else. I mean, I just love it. This industry, and I had a customer came by today. He wanted me to set up an appointment for Monday to look at his '07 Corvette that somebody else couldn't figure out, and another local shop pointed him to me. So he was telling me, he's just looking for somebody that he can trust to work on his car, and
Hmm.
you know, it wanted somebody that loved what they're doing and enjoyed, working on cars. And I said, well, that's me. That's just what I love to do.
That's awesome. Do you end up figuring out what's wrong with it?
He's bringing it back on Monday. He had another shop look at it and put a rear hub bearing in it for a noise. Paid
Mm.
$500, he said, jumped in the car and got on the highway, and the noise was still there. So he was thoroughly disgusted, to say the least.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
I just had what was it? I think it was an '05. I could be off on the year. I just had a Corvette the other day that would disengage the cruise control. So right, so it's an automatic, and you just be driving it down the road with cruise on, and it just turn it off just
Mm-hmm.
automatically. And it had been to several different shops, and it ended up being the steering position sensor. But you're a GM guy, so you probably know all that stuff like the back of your hand.
Oh, I know a little bit of it.
Right? um, yeah, I think that when I was just, everyday tech, I worked for Firestone for a long time. And when I was saying, like, I hated the industry at points, and I was just like, I don't see a future here. I don't know how I can go anywhere with this. What really changed it for me was getting into these groups. I mean, Facebook was a big deal, but then going to the training events and meeting people, and just seeing what else is out there, how other people have been successful, the passion that other people have, and events like last weekend where you get to interact with everybody that is the best of the best, right? Um,
Right, for sure.
that was a game changer for me in my career. It just propelled me forward, or at least having the ambition to go forward when I didn't really think there was anything else for me. Well, I'm just a flat rate tech at Firestone. That's it. What else am I going to do? Own a
Right.
shop? I don't want to do that. So I can't speak to how important that is to network with people and seek out other passionate, intelligent individuals in whatever industry you're in. But of course, it's auto for us. Um,
Right.
it's it's a game changer.
For sure. Like you said, going to the training and just seeing all the like the top guys, in one area. I know it's not all of them, but there's a lot of great minds in that one place, at one time, and it's just cool to be associated with them, to be, shoulder to shoulder with
Yeah,
them, face to face, talking to them, and shaking their hand and introducing yourself, and seeing the Jim Mortons and the Scott Browns, Brandon Steckler. I mean, the list goes on and on. Not to leave anybody out, but
yeah.
you know,
No, I
just
just I just wanted to be a sponge like
yeah,
this past
soak
weekend,
up
like sitting
everything
at
you can. Yeah,
tables. I'm just listening to people talk, and I'm just like, okay, this is just absorbing everything I can from, yeah, like you say, all these really intelligent, successful people. And the other cool thing is that just about everybody is really cool as well, and welcoming and friendly. We're all there for the same reason, but
hmm,
um, it, it's a great group of people.
for sure, for sure.
Well, what's in the future for your shop? You gonna grow it, or you happy doing what you're doing? You gonna hire some people? What are you thinking?
No, no, I'm building up. I'm definitely gonna hire more.
Okay.
I'm getting to the point where actually I reached out to uh, somebody I know that asking him if he wants to come on and give me a hand, from time to time. Not a full time type basis just yet, but when I'm kind of getting a little backlogged and just trying to stay afloat, keep my head above water, to be able to keep things going, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and not being don't want to be have vehicles sitting out there diagnosed, waiting on parts, and then to get back in line for me to repair them. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
eventually hire uh, another hand or two.
Well, and I got to imagine the phones and service writing and all that stuff that goes into it.
Yeah,
Good to
it's
have.
yeah, when you're working at a shop, and you put an estimate together and you hand it off to the service writer and you go back to work on another job. It's different when you're the one man band. You got to take time out to source the parts, throw your estimate together, call or text your customer, let them know what's going on, and then move on to the next one. So it's definitely can be a handful sometimes.
Yeah. I did that at one of the first shops. I was like a full-on technician at, as they had me be service writer and technician, and I got paid hourly on it. But that was my role. So I did, answer the phones, write the tickets, order the parts, and then go fix the car. And so you're constantly being drugged, in two ways, and you're doing,
Right.
two people's jobs. So you can only get so much done in a day. And I remember I tracked my flat rate hours at that shop, and they were pretty low. I mean, sub 40 hours, even though I'm working, full time and working hard, but I couldn't hit a whole lot of hours. And then I went to Firestone, where they have people for that, right? Like, I don't talk to the customer. I don't write estimates. I don't order parts. I'm just fixing the car. And I like doubled my flat rate that next year. I was like, oh, wow. Okay. Now I really understand that I'm doing two people's jobs. And of course that was flat rate. So my income went up significantly as well. But,
Sure.
yeah, it's tough when that phone is always ringing and you're getting pulled away from whatever you can't get in that flow state like you'd like to,
Yeah.
for working on jobs. So
Yeah. Sometimes, the stars line up and everything just flows perfectly, and you're just on a gravy train.
right, that's not every day though.
No, it's not every day. It's few and far between. Sometimes it seems.
Sometimes that train derails and the gravy goes everywhere.
Yeah. The biscuit, the gravy train with the biscuit wheels. One of the wheels falls off, and you're in a world of hurt.
Yep. Cool, man. You got anything else for me?
Oh man. I guess that's my story in a nutshell. From
Okay.
from you know graduating high school to now. Just loving what I'm doing. You know, like you said,
Yeah.
fixing the world one car at a time. So,
Yeah, that's right.
you know, but yeah, I wouldn't know what else to do besides fix cars.
Okay, that's going to do it for today's episode. I want to give Brian one more big thank you for spending some time with me, chatting with me on the show. I enjoyed that quite a bit. Also want to say thank you to everyone who's been listening to the podcast. I genuinely appreciate it. So thank you. But with that all out of the way, let's get out there and start fixing the world one car at a time.